see. We are back outside. February 3rd. Time keeps on going. Waits on nobody. It's your boy Doug 60 Gang. And we are headed out to Houston, Georgia. Got a customer gave me a call. Had some dishwasher issues. So thought we'd go on out there and take a look at it. See what I can do for my boy. So let's get up and get our day going, people. Let's go get that grind. Let's go get that Skrilla. Go get that paper that's out there waiting on you. Okay, so we have an address. '94 Ontario Lane. All right, let's roll out.
Guys, yes. Hello. You guys can't see me.
That's good.
I'm not on camera. Why? Because my hair is not dead. Honey, it's not. So no silk press. I was supposed to get my hair braided this weekend, and she had to order the hair, so I have to reschedule it for Wednesday morning. So I finally washed my hair today because it was just dirty. I don't do my own hair. So when I wash, I let it air dry. And about the illegals, he was making it about, making it. And then another person at the Grammys was supporting Nicki Minaj as well.
I think the ones that should be deported are being deported. To be honest, I'm a Latina. My family came from this country to this country legally. And I love to see rapists, human traffickers deported. I don't want to see them here. I want us to be free for all colors, for all people. Like, that's what makes America great again. So we can create, so we can live. Like, as an artist, as a musician, I want to be able to walk at night and not think that I'm going to get killed by an illegal alien. And so those are the people getting deported, and those are the people that should get deported.
Boom, boom.
Boom,
Okay.
boom.
Now, Bad Bunny, who will be performing halftime at the Super Bowl this year.
They've been pushing him, but I've never heard any of his music. I understand it's Latino, but that's nice. But
And he's Puerto Rican.
yeah, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Incidentally, Puerto Rico and Hawaii have some interesting history that got them into the sphere of the United States of America. It's kind of funny. The same reasons that brought Hawaii in as a territory of the United States at the turn of the 19th, 20th century, the reasons that were stated in Congress are almost exactly the same reasons that President Trump is stating are sufficient for the United States to try and acquire Greenland. It's interesting.
Well, he won, and he is the first Latino to win Album of the Year, I believe. That's what he won.
I ain't never heard the song.
But I want to play a little bit of his speech, just the first 30 seconds.
I'm gonna say, eyes out.
Eyes out. Stand ovation.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
And we're not talking about you.
Excuse me,
Also,
where did he get that we shit? If he's from Puerto Rico, he's a citizen of the United States. That's ridiculous. And by the way, back to what the first woman who was speaking negatively about ICE was talking about. Puerto Rico is a conquest. 1898, the U.S. and Spain had a little nasty thing going on, and Spain got their asses whipped and handed to them. So that's the way it works. And, you know, yeah, some Native Americans got dispossessed of property. My grandmother was one of those Native Americans, full-fledged. But some of those Native Americans dispossessed other Native Americans. So it's the way humanity has worked. Come in, kick ass, take names, and take over.
Right. So I don't know, when he said, you know, he keeps saying we're not animals. Nobody is deporting citizens or people with their proper papers. These are illegals, especially ones that just crossed the border yesterday, and you know, meaning under the Biden administration. And the people who came here illegally, we're not calling them animals, but the criminals.
Not animals, they're just criminals. They broke the law, they trespassed. And you know, America has a long history of dealing nastily with trespassers, and so does everybody else.
Right. So when you have Billie Eilish talking about no one's illegal on stolen land, yes, they are, because that means you lost the war, your land was taken, and was established under a new law and a new government, and you put borders. That's just how civilization works.
Okay.
It's been working
Hey,
beginning of ancient times.
I'm sure the French didn't feel all that gushy and warm when the Wehrmacht and the SS crossed the Belgian border and were sweeping down into France through the Ardennes in 1939, going on 1940. I'm sure they didn't feel that friendly.
Can we go further back to the Romans' time? Because
I'm sure they didn't like the Gauls coming in and the Germans either.
Right, because Roman times wasn't the Rome that we see today. No, Rome was near all of Europe, into Africa, into parts of Asia. That was Rome. So
it was bigger than the United States was until the mid 1960s.
Right.
So I mean, that's the way Rome worked. Came in, kicked ass, you know.
So Nikki,
and 2 or 3 generations later, the great grandchildren of the grandchildren became Roman senators and generals in the Roman army.
So Nicki Minaj took to X, and she was posting your favorite artists has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. Well, she would know because that's her industry. And this is the problem what I have with celebrities getting into politics, because I'm not a part of them, because they didn't want to be bothered with you anymore, blackballed for whatever reason. So now you want to spill the beans on the dirty little secrets that you yourself at one point took part in.
Well, it depends. It depends on how somebody got into the industry. One of the smartest people I know got in UCLA as a freshman at 16 years old, dropped dead beautiful. She wound up being a movie star, a celebrity. She was there down in the hood when we needed volunteers. Her daddy was a career officer in the United States Army. She didn't set out to be in Hollywood. She gave a roommate a ride to an audition. They saw her and picked her instead of the roommate. So she got in that way, but she's always been wise and focused. I know some of those, quite a few. So it depends on whether you have the typical, hey, oh my God, I finally got that magic part. You know, you got one of those clowns. Or do you have somebody that just says, oh, hey, you know, wow, whatever it is. And they are all right people who are knowledgeable, thoughtful, intelligent, educated, wise, and filled with discernment. Now, that's one type of person, but for the most part, you have to approach it like the Romans did. They can be quite entertaining, but this isn't who you should follow, because somebody that's in this for a lifetime has been about fantasy and make-believe for most of their adult life, or distracting other people from paying close attention to what's going on. So they're not the types that you listen to. Now, that said, I just love watching them gush, don't you? Oh, wow.
She also tweeted, as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that raises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Watch. Okay. So now she is holier than thou.
And what's
Who
all
is that?
Nicki Minaj. With the fake fat ass and the blonde hair and the fake titties, and she was twerking and doing everything probably
Just like
more
Cardi
than
B.
what Cardi B was doing in the beginning of her career, because she came out before Cardi B. So,
Well, maybe that's why she switched politics. She woke up one night in a hot sweat, cold sweat. She had a vision. Okay, I don't know, but you know. Oh, Satan is awaiting me. His arms are open. Oh, no, no, no. I saw what it's going to be like. I got to read on Dante's Inferno. That's like the 5th level, way down. You know, wow. I better do better.
well, one more thing that I wanted to bring up with the Grammys, and I always forget to save it. It's this here. Wait, let me put it in here so that I won't forget. Because we're gonna have to straighten out. These immigrants. Oh, here it go. It's right here. Oh, it was in there. So what the hell? Wait a minute.
Start smoking this shit.
Okay, let me share it. So, Shabuzi. I guess he's supposed to be a country singer, right? He dedicates his first ever Grammy win to children of immigrants. Now, I believe his background is Nigerian. I thought I had the speech here. Let me bring it out. Doing too much. Where is his speech? Oh, I gotta go to that person too. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So he's Nigerian American.
As a part of this, Harvey Mason, thank you so much. I have the greatest team in the world. Thank you so much. And again, the last thing I want to say, immigrants built this country, literally. So this is for them, for all children of immigrants. This is also for those who came to this country in search of better opportunity, to be a part of a nation that promised freedom for all and equal opportunity to everyone willing to work for it. Thank you for bringing your culture, your music, your stories, and your traditions here. You give America color. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
Now, mind you, when we have this Shambuzi person and the Bad Bunnies, both of them have wore dresses on the red carpet. They're both come from immigrant backgrounds, right? And
they couldn't get away with that from where
they come from, exactly.
No.
And then for the record, immigrants did not build this country. Like, stop putting that just on immigrants. They contribute, but they did not build it.
Well, technically, everybody that's here is an immigrant. 95,000 years ago, plus or minus, they say that there was a small group that migrated up out of Eastern Africa and spread to the rest of the world. They say that some Scandinavians got here a few hundred years before Columbus did on the white side. They're immigrants. So there were some that got brought over here involuntarily, and some that couldn't wait to get over here. But, once you get it, you see. And what he's talking about reminds me, if I can digress, one time about 1994, some clown was trying to explain his excessive shoplifting because it's a free country and he had a right to be happy by claiming property that other people were claiming, because the people that originally were claiming it were not treated fairly. All right, so that doesn't work. It's called public peace, dignity, and order. It's undignified, it's BS. It certainly isn't orderly, and it does not promote peace. So anyway, that's got to stop now. All of the meritorious claims that a lot of immigrants can have to contributing largely to this country's well-being, they had to go through and comply with the rules. Just fine. You go in and you enjoy a movie. You didn't sneak in and go through a side door so you didn't have to pay the fare to see the movie. Mm-hmm. You didn't walk and see 4 or 5 movies once you got in without paying for other tickets. So follow the rules. It's good when you follow the rules. And a lot of the new immigrants who came here legally know more about the country they decided to adopt them than the people who were born here. They have to take classes and pass tests, and they know more about the system, how it works, and what the law is about than most of the people that were born in the place. But when you crash the border, that is not cool, and I don't care what the hell your show circumstances may have been before. You follow the rules and you don't get here. This isn't just for anybody.
Right.
Now, let's look at some of the people that came in here. Some got brought inappropriately, but they're here. Some of them aren't doing too well as descendants right now. It takes them extra long to get it and how it works. Then there are those, the real Jewish Messiah, Albert Einstein, who came up with absolute positive brilliance on how the universe works, enabled us to build the bomb. And then you have Mr. Brown, Werner von Braun, a good Nazi, but got let in under Operation Paperclip after the war and is responsible for the ballistic missiles and the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo spacecraft. To an extent, the space shuttle and everything that we have right now flows from what he came up with or brought here. So you have those kind of people. They're Germans, but you know, one's a Nazi and one was Jewish, but they both contributed. We've got good former Mexicans or Mexican descendants. They're great patriots, make great soldiers, great elected officials, writers, all kinds of stuff. We have the same with those from Hispania.
Yeah,
so, yeah, but you just don't let anybody in.
Right, you just don't let anybody in. There's nothing wrong with, you know, as immigrants, yes, they have contributed. I would never say they have not contributed, especially, you know, turn of the century, whatever. However, no, you're not going to be labeled as we built this country as if you've done so much for, no. And right, you need to be the right person coming in. You need to come in the legal way. So I'm sorry, you don't, those 20 plus million people cross the border under the Biden administration, no, you don't belong here.
Well, I heard a very interesting thing about how it was put. It's been 30-some years ago. Somebody said, look here, let me tell you something. He said, there are a whole lot of assholes that we can't do nothing about because they were born here. But other assholes that ain't got in here yet, we can keep them out so we don't have to put up with them.
Exactly. So, let's go to Don Lemon, because Don Lemon, he was at the Grammys too.
Lemon booty got busted by the feds. I got something to talk to you sometime.
He got. Why are they standing up for him? Because
they're all like him. This is Hollywood.
Right.
Why do you think they get this little weak fool standing in for what used to be Walter Cronkite's thing? Or why do you get this? Wise man been shot at, been over there doing war correspondence stuff, and they got this little sissy here with his husband in the background. And this is the industry. This is the communications, entertainment, and news industry. They're all together. They're 5% or less of the country, and they're trying to make everybody think they're the majority of the country. So you go along with their mess. They're trying to convert our children just like mothers do when they want their children to be Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists. They take them to church, synagogue, mosque, or temple, and they put that in their heads until when they get mid-elementary school, they are caught up in it and came back out. And that's what they're doing here. They've taken over the school. So mama did it once a week, but they do it 5 days a week from 5 to 18. So they're trying to take over.
So let's just swing back to Don Lemon and his situation, right? I'm gonna play this clip.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who are predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll of course update our viewers, guys.
That was just the breaking news.
That was a week ago.
That was last week, but I want to play this Pam Bondi clip as well.
And this administration, make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you. Make no mistake,
That's not my concern, but what I do have to offer to this mix is this. If you are a reporter, you still have your First Amendment rights. You can protest, petition for redress of grievance, assemble, etc., etc., etc. But when you start participating rather than reporting, there's a whole different thing that comes in there. You get held to those peaceful, nonviolent standards that apply to everybody else. So when you start advocating disruption of public assemblies, which is against the law, you start transgressing too far. So he's claiming, I was a reporter. Yeah, but we heard you, fool. When you sat there and you had yourself recorded, when you were participating in the planning, before you went in there, you were gleeful about how you and your group were going to disrupt things. You weren't saying, I'm going in here to report, let's see where this goes to. You were talking about what your group was going to do and how you were for it and how you were going to push it. Mm-hmm. So you broke the law, dude, and it's recorded. Anything you say can, it may be used in evidence against you.
Right.
Dummy.
Now, when he was released, he didn't have to make bail. He didn't have bail. They just let him go, I guess.
And he was released on his own recognizance.
Right. So and there was a whole bunch of press outside, and he is sucking up all of this. So he spoke for 1 minute, and this is what he had to say.
I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I've spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
Problem is that the people that got him aren't the ones engaging in lawfare, and there's a big difference, dude. between reporting on the news and making what needs to be reported on happen. And participation is not the same as reporting. So you participated, and what you participated in was patently illegal. And if you've been doing it for 30 years, that speaks for itself. Now, the other thing, that's probably why CNN, the Crying Negro Network, is no longer doing what it used to do, because people are tired of the news networks not reporting on the news, but making the news.
Right.
See, there's a difference.
I want to ask you.
Enjoy yourself.
I want to ask you, his legal troubles are not behind him, because the FACE Act, that's serious. What's legally, what's going to happen next?
Well, 18 United States Code Section 111 is kind of clear. And he was advocating a public assembly, in this case, one of religious nature. He was trespassing because his open invitation got revoked when he deviated from the purposes of the assembly. Let's see, what else? He was part, parcel, and an accomplice to breaking public order. And what he actually did was the same thing that we had all that series of congressional hearings on about January 6, 2020. So he did a lot of stuff, and he recorded it. He's proud of it. So sometimes I guess people want to make sacrifices, and they do what they do, but you got to pay the consequences.
Well, he keeps saying freedom of speech, freedom of press, First Amendment. So how far is the First Amendment going to protect him?
Well, not very far. If he wants to comment on what's going on editorially, fine. If he wants to sit there and organize what is in fact not something that became a public disruption of a public assembly, but to participate in the planning, the facilitating, aiding and abetting what was intended to disrupt the public assembly, which was, for the purposes there, this was going to get loud, which under the circumstances is not what you do in churches or any other public assembly, complaining about one of the people who is a member of the organization, in this case, a preacher associated with this church, being a member of ICE. So that winds up going into that 18 United States Code, Section 111. That's action taken intentionally, and he tells you that before he walks in there, against a federal agent, which, boom, 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 that's kind of real bad. You told us you were going to commit the crime. You went in there, you videoed it, and we watched you commit the crime. And those that you aligned yourself with, that you were giving aid and comfort to, that you were covering so you could push what they were doing and further their criminal intent. Really nice.
So I want to play this clip here.
Really dumb, brother.
It is dumb, because it wasn't. He knew what was going to happen because he was speaking to the organizer.
He planned it. He helped plan it.
Yeah, well, he didn't help plan it, but he knew
and
he went behind you.
I put money
I
on it.
bet you that if they've got wiretaps and stuff going on, or somebody that's trying to cut a deal is going to play, oh, Don Lemon's on the line, let me record him. They're going to play that, and you're going to hear him going back sometime before anybody ever showed up there participating in that. I'm going to be there, guys. I'll be there. We're going to have a press conference outside beforehand. See, all of that stuff is likely to come out.
Right, true. And so now there are people, where's the clip at?
And by the way, there's an interesting thing. It's also likely to be held as a conspiracy. There's a funny thing about conspiracy. You can criminally conspire to do a lawful thing in a lawful fashion. The fact that you entered into an agreement with somebody to do it becomes the crime, not necessarily how you did it or what you did it. So he's trespassed way deep into that.
Right. Okay.
And that's nothing new. That's been around for
a lot
75, 80, 90 years.
Listen, conspiracy, that's part of RICO and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and you don't need much evidence to prove conspiracy.
And when you get a conspiracy and you get probable cause that one has been committed, then the rules of evidence get a lot more slack because it's viewed as more dangerous to society.
So I want to play this clip here because now people are saying Trump is targeting him because he's black.
Well, he's not black. He's goddamn hangs his head with a white husband. So what the devil?
We need to remind ourselves of the racial element of this. There is a reason why I think the reason why Donald Trump not only picked independent journalists, but black journalists in particular. Clearly, we know there's no love lost between Don Lemon and Donald Trump, that he's been very critical of the president. The president they've gone back and forth. But if we go back and undo all the layers of all of this, it was black journalists that were really at the forefront of calling Donald Trump out, from the birtherism movement throughout a lot of the things that they saw early before the rest of the press really picked up on some of the things that concerned a lot of black journalists. Hello, me, who also called out Donald Trump in 2017.
Can we pause a second?
She called him out.
Does the fact that she bleached her hair blonde merit any comment?
I think that's a wig.
Well, that she's got on a blonde wig, except you can see her scalp right down the middle.
A lot of times wigs, but wigs come like that where it looks like.
Well, wowie whoopee. The other thing too is this what black journalists are about, or is this what the rainbow Negro type are about?
All right, let me finish.
And the reason why I think he picked these particular journalists is being independent. You don't have the backing of a CNN. You don't have the backing of a big network. The other part of it, too, is that if you can make them the face of this issue that is happening in Minneapolis, we know that given some of the racial issues that we have in this country, it is likely to have a lot less sympathy because they are journalists, one, and people hate the press, and two, because they're black. And so I do think that that's an important part of this, especially given the president's own language when it comes to anti-DEI and making black people the face of woke, and all that we've heard from this administration. All of this is combined together and meant to drum up a certain sentiment against these journalists so that people are supporting their own rights being eroded because of who they think it's happening to.
You're finding words to connect it down.
I think I know more about rights and my own rights than she does. Been at it a lot longer. More successfully, too, as a matter of fact. And I disagree with her. I'm all in favor of MAGA and Trump because I see some socialist fascists who are attempting to put us deep into a totalitarian mess where they push the rainbow cult at all costs by any means necessary, much to the harm for normal, ordinary people who just want to behave like typical human beings. Now, if somebody wants to behave in a fashion that deviates from that in America, that's your business, but you can be talked about, and the same processes that you put in play to try and clear the pathway so you can do what you do can also be used against you. So America's a lot of two-edged sword territory. It swings both ways.
And then too, it's just if Donald Trump criticized you and you just so happen to be non-white, that doesn't mean he is racist. Because
no, I criticize you for the same reason. So what's that make me?
He criticized white people. He criticized all people. So for different reasons, and it's not because they're black or Asian or illegal. No, he may look at you and say you're fake news. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong.
I agree. They're fake news.
Right. So, I just have a problem with black journalism. First of all, you're not even journaling anything worth substance. You are on that Democrat plantation. One, you are on the illegal plantation, fighting for illegals and I'm sorry, even fighting for immigrants. And it's like you're not even concerned about what is going on with foundational Black Americans, and there's a lot
losing
going
all
on that
those
needs to be
jobs
addressed.
and educational prospects and safety in the hood.
Right.
See, they aren't moving where
Black
mainstream
boys,
America is. They're sending them where the colored folk are.
yeah, young Black boys are it's a crisis for young Black boys. So when no one's not talking about that, you're not reporting on that. Why?
And they're not reporting, they're preaching. See, they aren't saying this is what went on. There are different views on this. They all start off as an attack on somebody that is probably one of the more popular presidents in a recent American history, with more committed followers. And he is talked about, but there is only one U.S. president who has had more bad press than Trump. And you know who that is?
Abraham Lincoln.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
he's in good company.
well, let's bring it back to this, because you mentioned how Don Lemon want to call other people racist, and he's married to a white man. This man up here, who was there at the jail to greet him when he walked out. But this is what Don Lemon had to say, particularly about white people, particularly about white men.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence.
Oh, what do you think you did?
Are you listening to me? I hope I'm saying it loud enough for the people in the back.
What do you think you did in the church? What do you think you've been advocating for your 30 years on CNN? Breaking the law, breaking the public peace, burning down the hood, going out and going to be aggravated and nasty with an ICE officer or somebody else. Ooh, you sound like a hypocrite. What is the matter? And you want to talk about white men and there's one sticking something up in you on a regular basis, we assume? What's the matter with you? Are you putting something in your mouth or whatever you do?
Well, honey, you already know they're looking at this channel. So listen, my thing is, yeah, you talk about white men are evil, they're violent, but there you go, your husband, who is there to support you, waiting for you to come out of, the court, jail, or whatever. So why are you married to a white man if white men are evil, basically?
I ain't worried about white people anymore.
Exactly. And
in my years, I learned how to kick ass individually and collectively. I know the law and I know a whole lot of other stuff too. Anybody can learn that, so I'm not worried about it. But what I am worried about is all these young girls that can't go find a boy because nobody's teaching them Boys and Girls 101A. All these young boys that can't go find a girl because nobody's teaching them the same things. All of this stuff where nobody girl watches or boy watches because this bunch has made it a corrupt mess where you don't know what you're looking at, where you expect to have free rights, but everybody's so delicate and they need to be protected from uncomfortable speech. So thank God you have to censor everything, which is very un-American, and where you can't even report on anything objectively because you lapse off into the op-ed when you try to lie to somebody about what happened.
I'm going to play this clip here.
They arrested Don Lemon. Somebody went, yes, like good. I don't know. I didn't hear him. It's not good to arrest him. I don't,
It is good.
It's unfair to all those people who get deprived, and they're giving him some free rough trade opportunities.
The FACE Act. He went into a church, disrupted their worship, and then later in an interview compared them to white supremacists. That's not journalism. That's activism. I had an experience with Don Lemon.
Getting arrested?
Disrupting a worship service, stopping people's right to worship God. That is violation of the FACE Act, and under